don't give a damn how you feel. You never gave a damn about me.
Now that is a crock.
Two-time Super Bowl champ, 10-time Pro Bowler, New York Giants Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame linebacker, New York Giant. I mean, this guy is a legend.
Like, I like Lawrence Taylor, man.
Throughout his career, LT redefined the linebacker position, making the quarterback sack an art form and leading the Giants to 2 Super Bowl victories. In a landslide victory, football fans across the country selected Taylor as the most innovative linebacker in NFL history.
You know, I had this one kid, Lawrence Taylor. Now, every linebacker in the league thinks they're worth $900,000.
One of the few guys that could control the game from the defensive side of the ball.
You know, when you're playing flag football and you have to count to 7 Mississippi, they should have had LT do that. That would have made the fair.
I felt I was like a man playing with boys. Killer instinct.
I got a guy that's a 350 hitter for 8 years. Guys hit a 350 one time, they want the... You know what I mean? It's awful.
Is he the #1 defender of all time, Lawrence Taylor?
I think he is. I think he is.
Lawrence Taylor of the New York Giants was probably the most intimidating, the most fearsome defensive player in the history of the NFL.
Watching him as a kid, watching him now as an analyst covering the game, Lawrence Taylor is a big reason why I'm doing this job.
As a youngster, growing up during my teenage years, and then in my early 20s, watching Lawrence Taylor perform was something sensational.
Freak, phenomenal, just a phenom.
In a word, awesome. The guy was the greatest I've ever been around.
Probably the most talented guy I've ever seen in my life.
He was the greatest defensive player to ever play. Best one ever put on the pad.
I remember the guy you coached, Lawrence Taylor, that I thought systematically changed the way offenses played in this league.
Well, Lawrence Taylor was one of those guys that revolutionized the game.
He was just greatness personified. I mean, this guy did things that we'd never imagined could be done. I mean, his speed, catching a running back, a quality all-pro running back from the backside.
He has amazing instincts. A lot of times a play will come up and I'll ask him about it. Why did he do something? And he doesn't really even know exactly or can't explain exactly why he does it, but it was something that he saw and in a split second made an instant judgment that he could make the play or beat the blocker or get wherever he had to go. And he has the ability, obviously, to carry through on that.
He made offensive coordinators stay up nights saying, we cannot allow 56 to dominate this game.
But we're talking about pass rushers. We got to start with Taylor, right?
He's changed the game of football because he's just so dominating.
There had never been a defensive force quite like Lawrence Taylor, a man who could disdainfully crumple up an offensive game plan and send its beleaguered creators back to the drawing board.
He changed the way the game was played on offense. They had to do something different. He may have invented the one-back offense. Joe Gibbs started using the one-back offense to deal with Lawrence Taylor.
It used to be that you say, well, our back blocks him, and we go ahead and throw the pass.
The traditional ways of pass protecting, assigning a back to the outside linebacker, proved to be not applicable.
LT would make an immediate impact, taking the league by storm and terrorizing opposing offenses.
One man cannot block Lawrence Taylor.
If you get a back blocking Lawrence Taylor, you lose. You're going to lose a ball game, and it's been proven. He's beaten a lot of people.
They start out blocking him with the back, and they move to a guard, and then they put the tackle on him. He runs over all of them, and he continues to run clear to the other side of the field and chase the play. You know, you expect the guy to dog it once in a while, you know, loaf from side to side, give up on a play, but he just does not do that.
You really enjoy watching him play. I mean, he is a real joy to watch because the guy goes 150%.
Like all great athletes, Taylor's playing style is a reflection of his personality.
I play linebacker like my lifestyle is. You know, I'm pretty
freewheeling, you may say, wild, abandoned, reckless, as the coach probably would say.
When I would do some hey, aren't you trying to get through Monday?
Lawrence Taylor was probably the best defensive player in the game.
It wasn't so much that he played linebacker as it is that he stalked his prey.
Lawrence Taylor scared the living hell out of you.
Either I get what I came for, or it's skull-busting time.
Lawrence Taylor can make good on a threat.
Go get him! You didn't have to do that.
Hey, you just play, baby.
Taylor not only terrorizes opponents,
Let's go, D!
he intimidates them.
Yeah, stick. Yeah, you mine. You mine, baby.
He's got a relentless personality.
Woo! Yeah, Mr. Referee! Get on his butt! Get him, ref! Get him!
He will stay on you, and he will stay after you.
Hey, come on, baby! You can't pussyfoot up in there! You gotta run it! You gotta run it! Way to go, Cawthorn!
The more threatened he feels, the more competitive he becomes.
If I don't get 4 sacks tonight against this summer dog, God, you mine, Ryan, you mine.
It's a confidence born of demonstrated ability. He thinks that he can will anything to happen on the field. And for the most part, it's true.
Tough enough to play the run, graceful enough to play the pass, and mean enough to knock a runner out. Just knowing we have to go out there and play is good enough for me to get ready to play a game. You know, I enjoy it, and that's what I look forward to every Sunday, is going out there and playing football.
I grew up watching LT on the TV. He showed nothing but passion always.
And this guy never let up.
He was always chasing the ball. He never stopped.
Bada bing, bada bam!
Leg with my into something, I'm gonna break his neck. He would try. Hey, Shula, you better hope I never get back in there. I'm gonna kick your fucking ass.
Lawrence Taylor was the kind of guy that turned everybody, all the defensive players around him into Rough Riders and straight up dogs, because Lawrence Taylor was out there howling.
They grab him. They push him. They hold him. They double team him.
Get him, Ralph, get him!
Like, you knew you had to do your job, and that's it. You know, give him a little time, he's going to get to the quarterback. Give him a little time, he's going to make a difference. But you found yourself wanting to step up and make your own difference because of what Lawrence Taylor was bringing to the table.
Look, we got to rush him. We got to kick the what we got to do is get in and get the so let's go. Come on now. You know. Hey, we're a bunch of bad summer. Let's play some ball.
My man to the left. Now, when I was a rookie, I was scared of you. And now I'm retired and I'm up here with you with this yellow jacket. I'm still scared of you.
Man, I like the hit.
Lunatic.
That was just a good old-fashioned ass whip.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun. Homeboy, we can't play that stuff over here. Y'all gonna have to go to the other side.
You look at all those things and then you just throw in 80 pounds of intensity. He was intense on the point of being a madman.
I enjoy it.
Taylor's enjoyment comes at the expense of those who don't have quite as much fun when he's on the field.
Son, I gotta do better than this.
Lawrence Taylor was the fucking man.
just cocky and he was crude.
6'3", lean and mean. You gotta be a renegade to make a Madden team.
Man, back in our day, if you didn't hear it on Monday, motherfucker, you free.
Lawrence Taylor made 10 Pro Bowls in 13 years and 8 times was voted first team All-Pro. I mean, he was just like a no doubt lock first ballot Hall of Famer in his first year. He won Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
There was only one Lawrence Taylor.
No one could have been a bigger star in the New York area than I was, and no one, and in some ways, could be a bigger letdown than I have been.
Trust me, we're going to do it my way.
That's a good point. I am very with that point.
I think that today defenses are built around linebackers, and you need those wild guys with that look in their eye that can run and can hit when they get there. And when you think of guys like that, you have to start off with Lawrence Taylor of the Giants.
And I've always saw myself as a big play person. Maybe not the greatest linebacker to ever play the game.
I'd never seen the stadium make so much noise when he got on a roll. When he would just sack the quarterback 2 times in a row, then snatch the running back down, and all 3 of those plays were all him, and then the whole stadium started chanting LT, LT. I still remember that, so those are great times.
And at a certain time, a defense is called, and you know for a fact that's a sack time.
I remember watching the Giants growing up and actually being a big LT fan, but watching the smoke come out of their mouths when they're playing. And all of us rookies, it was like he was walking on water. We all were in such amazement. Like, oh my, that's Lawrence Taylor. Don't stare, don't look, but you couldn't help yourself.
Athleticism and sheer relentlessness made him a new kind of linebacker, one the league had never seen and could rarely stop.
You get a good hard run at the quarterback. You get as much momentum as possible.
One-man wrecking crew at the quarterback.
Believe that you are the best at what you do, and if you can believe that you are the best,
he had this great intensity and this great quickness, and when the coaches saw that, they began to realize we have to exploit the abilities of this player, and that's what he did. He could do things that other players couldn't do.
I played a different type of football game than I think that they were used to, that I brought something different to the table that maybe hadn't been seen in a while around here. But up until that point, a linebacker was just a linebacker. All he did was, he stopped the run, he went back and defended against the pass. The motor skills were just like anybody else. But as Bill Parcells watched me and evaluated me, he allowed me to do a lot of different things, allowed me to rush the passer, because most of the time I made so many mistakes.
He was supposed to be dropping in coverage, and he rushed and sacked the quarterback. I said, look, you got this wrong. You're off in coverage, you're not rushing. Oh, yeah.
In the pass defense, I was supposed to be dropping on this play, so I wouldn't drop or I'd rush, and that was my answer to everything.
Later in the game, the same situation comes up, and do you know the son of a gun does the same thing?
If you don't know what you're doing, just rush the quarterback, hell. See what happens.
He sacks Neil Lomax. George Martin picks it up, and we score with it.
What was it like being inside of Bill Parcells' inner circle?
Bill Parcells, man, okay?
2 sacks and a touchdown out of it. Everybody's mobbed them in the end zone and they're jumping on top of each other. They come up the sideline, and I'm just staring at them cold.
No, but he's my ass. I love him. I mean, we fight all the time.
I did it again, didn't I? And I said, yeah, you did it again.
Hey, we genuinely love each other.
Some of these guys got to get their head out of their ass around here.
I said, we don't even have what you're doing. He said, well, we better put it in Monday, he says, because it's a dandy.
But one thing I could say about Lawrence Taylor is everyone knows he's a great football player, and everyone knows he's a great athlete because he watched the games. But if you watch the practices, you understand why.
Looking at Lawrence Taylor, I'm like, damn, he practices very hard. I mean, this guy's moving fast, and you get on the field, it's like jumping on the highway, trying to merge in, 80-mile traffic going at 30. Lawrence, there are certain nights of the week that he would go out, and sometimes he'd show up late, right? We go through our morning meetings, Lawrence isn't there, right? So we break for lunch, we come back, and now the most important part for our pass rush meets him in there.
And when he gets into the meeting room, we're about to watch film, so he crawls up under a table and he has his sunglasses on and he just goes to sleep.
Defensive line coach Lamar Leachman is drawing up the pass rush, and you could just see him getting more and more upset because he's circling Lawrence and he's doing certain things and he shows the film. And at a certain point, he was just so fed up because Lawrence was out cold.
And so our defensive coach really got ticked off about it. And so he cuts the lights on and he's screaming because, Lawrence was always an integral part of our pass rush. And he's ready to start diagramming the pass rush, and Lawrence is not looking at any film or paying attention.
He cuts the lights on and he's dropping a few expletives. So Lawrence sits up. He's like, what?
He says, we're trying to install an effing pass rush, and you're not even paying attention. You're under this, the effing table sleeping.
Just cut the film on. Cut the lights back out and cut the film on. He looked at 2 plays, right?
And he gets up, goes to the drawing board and says, this is what we're going to do against the Washington Redskins. He draws up our entire pass rush, like 5 or 6 schemes.
Got up, took the chalk, drew up our entire pass rush scheme.
He goes and draws up our entire pass rush, and it was the funniest thing, but it was just, he saw the game so much differently.
We didn't have anything else other than what he drew up, worked to perfection. But the thing about it, he drew it up after watching 2 plays, went back under the table and went to sleep.
I grew up in Dallas. They played the Giants twice a year. I saw this guy wreck Phil Pozderac and hit Danny White and Steve Pelleur more times than I care to remember.
White back up, blitz is coming, and the ball is loose. White was hammered.
Once we got into the season, and I could see just how effective he was in rushing the quarterback and the quickness and the speed and so forth, and how he just changed the game, then I recognized that we had something really special.
Lawrence would be named Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he would form a special bond with then Giants defensive coordinator Bill Parcells.
Wow, it's my guy, we came together as assistant, and he was a young draft choice and catalytic player, dynamic, easy to coach. That was the great thing about Lawrence. You teach him something, he can take it right with him. Your job when you get a player like that is to let the talent flourish.
Be more aggressive on that special now. They'll come back with that. That slant counter there. Yeah. Kick it over. I wasn't sure how to play that. Yeah. Way to go, Lauren. Kick it over.
LT would earn his 2nd straight Defensive Player of the Year award in only his 2nd season. No player has accomplished that feat before or since.
Led by their young linebacker, Lawrence Taylor, Big Blue would continue to build a team predicated on defense. With the young phenom LT leading the way, Parcells would eventually appoint then linebacker coach Bill Belichick as the new defensive coordinator.
Basically, what I did as the defensive coordinator was to take Bill's system and try to
modify it weekly by a game plan.
Lips comes back across, then we squirm it back here, and Herbie, you're coming.
Bill and I, had a good relationship. I knew what he wanted. He told me the things he didn't want, and so I kept it within those boundaries.
You with me, Carl?
Yeah.
I know he was looking on this side.
Bill, here, before you start telling about plays, you better tell him to be alert for the hurry up.
We got it, Bill. We've already been over it.
But Bill gave me a lot of freedom to coach the defense and coach the team in my personality.
All right, that's where to jam on that too, okay? Keep hammering them. Keep hammering those outside receivers.
Teed off about that. I was just acting like a little kid over on the sideline, cussing and fussing and not having a good time whatsoever. And I said, well, if they tell me to go in, I'm not going in.
While LT sulked, the Lions strolled through the undermanned Giants defense. And the pain in Taylor's knee was quickly forgotten.
Well, the second quarter, Bill looks over at me and says, listen, get ready to go in there. Boom, I'm out there.
In the blink of an eye, Taylor altered the tempo of the football game. Running lanes closed and blocking schemes crumbled as LT personally destroyed the once prosperous Lions attack. With the score tied and the Lions at the Giants' goal line, LT picked that moment to score the first points of his NFL career.
The pass, I saw it in my mind. I knew exactly what the play was before it even developed. And I said, if they throw this ball here, I'm going to go all the way.
They've got King on the left side as a running back. Sanderson looking in, zone for a pass. He's looking for King, intercepted. He's going to go down the right side. Lawrence down to the 20, 30, down to the 40. He might go all the way. He's going to go in.
And I remember when I got to about the 40-yard line, I said, what I want to do when I get in this end zone? I don't have anything. I don't know all the shuffles and the slam dunk across the backboard. So I'm saying what I'm going to do. So I decided to slide and tore all the skin off my leg. I'm saying, big old strawberries, but that's one of my favorite plays of my career.
We used to have all those little letters and symbols, and then right over here, with a big circle around it, was number 56.
Joe Theismann, the Redskins quarterback, takes a snap and hands off to his running back.
There are guys they talk about when they deliver a blow, it's like they got a ton of bricks in their pipe. He was one of those guys.
I did this guy a favor.
Breaking Joe Theismann's leg on blow, that's so great.
He pouts.
What jumped out at me was, first of all, was the sound. You could actually hear the breaks, the two muzzled gunshots. And then the suddenness with which it broke. It really went like a breadstick.
He is such a baby.
It's a trick play, a flea flicker, and the running back tosses the ball back to the quarterback.
You didn't know what side he was coming from. I mean, and not only that, the rules were different, so you didn't have to worry about hitting the quarterback upside the head. He pouts, he pouts all the time.
Up to now, the play's been defined by what the quarterback sees. It's about to be defined by what he doesn't.
He made $3.5 million in Lords of London because he knew he wasn't going to play no more.
Because Lawrence Taylor jumped up and was waving the paramedics. Come on over. That was scary.
That made LT's mystique because it was Monday Night Football.
Right.
And it was right there for the world to see.
I mean, and he almost cried because he was so worried about Theismann, because that's how vicious it was.
Reverse angle one more time, and I suggest your stomach is weak, you just don't want.
He didn't mean to do that.
It was a scary moment, but it kind of showed you the power that he has. And, up until the moment that he broke the leg, he probably was intending on, breaking him in half.
We'll look at it with the reverse angle one more time, and I suggest your stomach is weak, you just don't want.
Gruesome injury only added to Taylor's madman mystique.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
He comes out, and, just like a gladiator, he says, I'll be back.
He will also change the game of football as we know it.
I said, yeah, Joe, but not tonight.
And there was legendary. I'm just saying, that mystique, I don't see
anyone. And it might be because it might not be J.J. Watt's fault. Khalil Mack is coming. He ain't going to be Lawrence Taylor. It may not be his fault. It may be the fault of the league rules and how you have to guard against so many things that you can't necessarily be as vicious as you once were. But back in the day, Lawrence Taylor on that football field, you know, prancing back and forth, just scowling and stalking us. I don't see any defensive player that has instilled that level of fear.
It scared the hell out of the offensive tackles. I was afraid of what the net result could be. If he beats you for 3 sacks, your life is crap.
Legendary quarterback Joe Theismann never played another down of football.
In 1986, the best season by a linebacker in NFL history.
It's the chase that's exciting.
He finished the year with 20.5 sacks and won the league's most valuable player award.
The first MVP trophy for a defensive player since Alan Paige way back in 1971.
But it was his fiery will to compete that made him the only linebacker ever named NFL MVP.
Last defensive player to win league MVP, that was 1986, Mark. He deserved it. He was the best player on the field when he walked on the field.
Taylor, last defensive player to win the league's MVP award, that was 1986, long time ago.
Touchdown! LT! Way to go!
No other player in the 96-year history of this league can lay claim to this in a season's work.
In the Giants' magical Super Bowl season of 1986, Taylor would be named the league's most valuable player, capturing every defensive accolade possible and making big play after big play en route to leading the Big Blue Wrecking Crew to their first championship in 30 years.
NFL sack leader, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP of the league. You couldn't dream of a better season from an NFL linebacker.
You know, I'm thinking about the 20.5 sacks the year you won league MVP in 1986. I'm thinking about the greats, the Nitschkes, the Dick Butkuses of the world, others. Clearly, when everybody thinks about the linebacking position, they think about you. Do you believe the game has gotten a bit soft?
The rules are a little bit lax, and the rules allow people to play. The game has changed. I mean, listen.
And you just accept it.
The things that we could do, I would have to do to play. Like, listen, if I'm chasing somebody, he's running a 4-3. And he's running down the field. You gonna tell me I can't hog collar him? I can't grab him? Oh, no. Hey, what I'm gonna do is just let him run?
Right.
No, that's how I'm gonna grab him.
If you had an opportunity to sack Skip Bayless or me and do that kind of damage, who would you go after?
Between the two of you.
That's
guys.
right.
Which one? You know what? Hey, listen. I would have to come after you.
Ah, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you like my wife. You know, you kill people with your words.
Tell the truth. Tell the
Kill
truth.
people with your words.
But you said you would sack me.
I
and you
sure
said
would.
you'd come after me
because
like
you got
that.
the most mouth, man. I would.
We recognize that eras are different. The game was played in a different way decades ago, even just a few years ago, than it is right now. But when I think about it, I'm just thinking about my time, what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, based on records as well as on-field accomplishments. I'm not taking into account off-field transgressions, Skip Bayless.
Okay.
Because obviously one of the individuals I will pick, some people will look at some of the stuff that transpired in his life off the field and would say, oh, no. But I'm not going by that, Skip.
I know where you're going.
I'm just going by what I've seen on the field. Okay?
Okay.
My list is very, very simple. I need a defensive player. It's got to be LT, Lawrence Taylor. I mean, this man was terror personified. Ask Joe Theismann and a host of other quarterbacks that have had to deal with him in NFL history. LT.
I'll go ahead and agree with you on Lawrence Taylor. He changed the game. He revolutionized the game. I cannot defend a lot of the things he did off the field. So I'm going to discount or disregard what LT did off the field while he was playing, after he was playing. He changed the game. He's on my Mount Rushmore.
He finally was voted into the Football Hall of Fame.
The best thing I've accomplished, because I've done some bad things in my life. I'm not a choir boy. Of course, we all know this. And I was able to overcome those things, not through just because I'm through my personality, no, because through my play.
Players like Lawrence Taylor prove that pro football will always be a hitter's game, a game of guts and guile, played by men who deserve the respect and admiration of fans everywhere.
Taylor's instinctive approach to the game produced 132.5 sacks.
LT retired in 1993 with 132.5 career sacks and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1999. He will go down in the annals of NFL history as arguably the greatest defensive player ever.
He has been the premier defensive player of his generation, a pioneer who has become the paragon of the modern-day linebacker.
He is certainly among the very greatest players to ever play this game.